import feature, like why we are using this, going to use this import feature is like if we use this import feature, we will not have to create all those landing tables, staging tables, and the mappings, especially for the lookup tables. Because usually for the lookup type tables, it is like a one-time insert, and we usually don't change the data in the lookup table. In case we have a lot of data, or basically you can say we have a lot of lookup tables, in that case some places we prefer to go for this option, import option. So for the import feature, we have to prepare a file, basically, that is the import configuration. So that's the data import template. So this is a data import template here, and in this data import template we have to specify the property file. These two names we can give any name. Display name is there, which is given as import customer profile, and name is like import underscore customer. This name you can give any name. Subject area name you have to give specific, like whatever name you have given to your subject area in the IDD configuration, the same name has to be given here. And then all the columns in order, like what are the columns you want to import. So here you have to give this index, basically index 1, 2, 3, and then the base object name and the column names. This import it into the configuration once you have created this file. And in this, as of now, we have only for the customer. If you want like to add address also, you can just copy this, paste it down, and make some changes for the address table. So like this I can add for multiple base objects. All the base objects or all the lookup tables can be added here. Just we need to change the details, basically the names and the subject area name and the base object name and the column names. Using this we can import for any table here. We will just leave it as one table. And once you have created this, you have to go to the configuration screen. So here in the configuration screen, you will have to go select your ORS. And then using the import feature, import to existing IDD application. Select data import template and just browse and import your data import template here. So once we have imported this data import template, which was the XML file, and redeployed our application, we can go back to the application here, and we will see that there is one import coming. So yesterday, like we were seeing only create, that create is coming. Import was not coming, but once we import this XML file, we will get this option for import. So we can use this option import and then customer. Means we have added only once, so customer is coming. Like this we can add for all the base objects. So here the first thing that we have to do is like browse and select the file. So I have uploaded this file customer.csv, which contains the details. This is the detail, three columns here. So this is my CSV file in which I have these four values: full name, first name, middle name, last name. So I am importing these values here. So this will take us to this screen where we can select like what is my delimiter. So my delimiter is as of now comma separated value. So I can just leave it as it is. So there is no change required. Just on the down we have a header here. So we can specify that the first line is a header, so that we'll start importing from the second row. And once we do next, we will get an option for start. So this start will start importing all the records directly into the base object level. So here it is saying that accepted record is 4, so all the records are accepted here, and then we can click on finish. So now we can go and do a search for the customer. We will see all the records that we just loaded will be present. So here you can see these are the 4 records were there in my CSV file, and all the 4 records have been imported here. So like this, for the static tables especially, we can import it. So there is no need to create all these extra tables, and the configuration will also means very less tables will be there in our ORS basically, because we will not have any landing tables or mappings. But other things are required. Base object is required, packages are required, those things are required. Just these two, landing, staging, and the mapping, these 3 can be skipped if we use this process. So that's basically an import profile. Using this import profile, I can import the data for any base object. Usually this is done for the lookup tables, but if you want, you can do it for the base object also. So basically it uses all the features, cleanse features that we have implemented. It will apply all the cleanse features. So data will be cleansed and it will be loaded into your base object. So that's basically the import profile. And the last thing that we'll see is the active US. So active US, now like as you know, it is a workflow engine basically, which has been integrated. It was integrated long back, like it was integrated in 9.6.1 version of MDM, and from that time only we have active US, but it was not basically being used. ActiveOS was like basically they have made it mandatory from this MDM version 10. So from 10 versions now it is like mandatory that we have to use this ActiveOS as a workflow engine. Previously we had a Siberian engine which was the default workflow engine. So coming to MDM console here, ActiveOS basically as of now like supports default rule. So whatever we have in the Siberian engine previously, the workflow, similar thing is supported by the ActiveOS also. So for ActiveOS, we'll discuss like what are the changes which are required to be done. So the first thing that we have to do is, if you have gone through the document like history tool, first thing we have to go to the JBoss folder, and there we have to create the users. So for example, if I have a JBoss, so I will go to the JBoss location. We need to go to the JBoss bin path. In the JBoss bin path, we have this add users.sh. Add user.sh is basically used to add the JBoss users, application user and management user. So we need to create the users here in the JBoss. So you can just put this add user.bat.sh. In the Windows version, you can get add users.bat. So once we enter it, it will ask us two options, basically management user and application user. Management user is basically an admin user for the JBoss. So we don't need management user, we need application users to be created. So we'll select the second option. And then we have to specify the username. What is the username and password we want? So we can specify a username and then the password. and then we have to specify the roles. Basically, what are the roles that we want to give to this user? So if we go about the roles, let us go to the document here. So this is the step that I am doing currently. This one, creating a user in the JBoss. So about the roles, these are the roles basically. If you are creating a normal user, means admin user, you will have to select this option. Like we have AB task client, AB admin, AB service consumer. These are the things which are required, and other than that, these are the three roles which are supported: data steward, manager, and senior manager. So if you are creating an admin, you can copy this one. Otherwise, the respective roles are there. If you want data steward, you can just copy this one: data steward, manager, or senior manager. So these are the three roles which are supported by the default workflow. So accordingly, whenever we are creating the users, we have to specify that whether this user will be admin user or data steward, manager, or a senior manager. So depending on that, we need to provide these roles here. So let us select this itself, keep this role. So once we do this, what happens is it will add the users, their passwords, and whatever roles we have given into these two files. So we have like standalone configuration, means this is the JBoss path again. So JBoss standalone configuration and application role dot properties, application, and one more file, application users dot property. So these are the two files under which it gets created. So that's the first one, application users dot properties, where we will have the username and the password, and properties. In this, we will have the roles that we have defined. So let us go to this file. So if you see, this is the user that we just added, AVUS1. So this user is coming up here. So similarly, here we have to add all the users, like all the users who will be using MDM as well as the IDD workflow. For them, I need a user ID and password here. So this is the first file, and similarly, we can go to the other file. This will contain the roles that we have provided. So this is the user that we just created, AVOS1, and for this user, all the roles are provided. If you want to change the role at a later point of time, also you can change it. You can just edit the file and restart the server. So the changes will be picked up. So this is the configuration change required at the JBoss side. We have to create all the users that you have created in MDM. Plus one more thing that you have to take care is you have to use the same password. Whatever password you are using in MDM, the same password you have to use in the JBoss. So the username and the password should match in MDM and in JBoss. If there is any mismatch, it will not work. So these are the two files which gets automatically updated. Other than that, there is one more file which we have to create. and that we call as identity services user.xml. So this is a file again in which the same thing will be there. Again, username and passwords will be stored in this file. So let me open this file. This file is also attached with the document. So you can just go through this document. So if you come here, you can see the roles. These are basically the active US roles on the top. That is AB task client, AB trust, AB service consumer, AB deployer. And these are the MDM roles, data steward, manager, and the senior manager. And here we have to specify all the users, like what are the users we are using, what is their password, and what is the role we want that to play. So basically now two places it is required in the JBoss. One is in those files which gets updated automatically, and this file we have to create manually on our own. So these are the changes which are required from the JBoss configuration perspective. Now, like once you have done this change, and now next what you have to do, you need to go to the active OS. So the user which we have created. So for logging into the active OS, now we have a different screen here. So now you have to use, after the IP and port number, you need to use like /active-us. So that's a new URL now. So once you type it, you will get this screen. Somehow it seems the server went down. Just 1 minute, I will start the server. It will take some time to start. So if you have any questions in the meantime, let me know. We can discuss that. Uh, by that time it's starting, I can take you through this one. So once we basically log into the ActiveOS screen, basically, so this is the screen, localhost :port0/ActiveOS, where whatever admin user that we have created. So only an admin user can log in here, and so there is one role, EB admin. If you have given that EB admin role to any user, you will be able to log in to this ActiveOS console. So once you log into the ActiveOS console, basically first thing we have to set up the license. So there is a separate license, so we have to update the license there and then restart the server. So server means I can just, in the ActiveOS only we have an option to restart the ActiveOS server. We can restart from ActiveOS itself. So we don't need to make the JBoss down and restart it again. So once we have done that, restarted the server, then there are some URL mappings which we have to update. So the first 3 URL mappings is already present. They will be there, but the last 2 will not be there. So we will have to add those 2 URL mappings. Those are basically required, like means the ActiveOS has to call the MDM services, SIP services. So for calling that shift services, internally uses this URN, or basically you can say a mapping, basically using which it says that this name is basically mapped to this URL. So basically the request gets diverted on this server from the active viewers. So these two basically we have to update, and once we update it, then the next is we have to deploy the BPRs. BPR is basically the workflow engine. So this is the default workflow which is provided, and they are in form of the BPR. So this is some business processing. So they have given this name as .bpr. So these are the 4 files which we have to deploy. So that basically we have this deploy option on the top of the screen. If we click on this, we can deploy all these BPRs. And they are already present, like once we install MDM, it is already there in info MDM folder. In the info MDM hub server resource folder, we will have all these BPR files. So we can just deploy it from there. Seems the server went down somehow. I'm just starting it again. Okay, so finally it has started up. So once you are logged in using this active OS, then what we have to go is we need to go to the admin, and under admin we have the license option. So first of all we have to come here and add the license. So we just need to click on this and the license file will be there. You just need to copy the license and paste it here. So this will add the license. Once we have added the license file, then we have to go back to the server status, which is the first option on the top. So in this I can first just do a stop server and then start server. So this will restart the ActiveOS server. And the next thing is the URL mapping. So once we go to the URL mapping, you will see that first three is always there. The last two we have to get on our own. So we can just put the values here and click on add update mapping. It will add it on the top. So this URN MDM service and URN MDM host info MDM, these two we have to insert here. And the last thing that we have to do here is the identity services. So if you go to the identity service, we have in the drop down, we have to select the XML file. And then we have to specify the full path of the XML file here. So this is the same identity service.xml that I just showed you, in which we have all the users, their password and the roles. So we need to add the full path including the file name and click on the update to update this file on this ActiveOS. After updating that, you can go and test it whether whatever users are present, whether they are working fine or not. For example, I have a user as manager1, so I can click on this and then test. It should show test successful. If it is there, then it means that the file has been imported correctly and ActiveOS is able to communicate with the MDM. And finally, we have to, on the top of the screen, there is a deploy option. So we have to use this deploy option. And then using this choose file, we have to select all the BPRs, the 4 BPRs that we just seen. Those BPRs we have to select. And those BPRs will be there already present if you go to the hub server location. So if you go to this location, this is the info MDM location. So hub server resource BPM, this is the folder. So in this folder you can see there are 4 BPRs which are present. So you have to import one by one. First the common MDM BPR, then MDM workflow BPR, then again BE common MDM, and then the common. So these 4 basically you will have to import it one by one. And once you have imported it, you can see this, that will be there in your contributions. So there is, if you go to next to admin, there is a catalog option. So under the catalog we have contributions. So once you have imported it, you can see all those BPR files in the contributions. So these are the 4 files, BPR files, which are imported. So this is the configuration, these are the configurations which are required from the JBoss perspective. So first we saw in the JBoss side what are the changes which are required. Then we saw in the ActiveOS what are the things that we have to change, and then finally in the MDM side, in the MDM also we have to create the users. So in ActiveOS, sorry, in MDM, we have to create one admin user. The same admin user that you have created in ActiveOS has to be present in MDM also. This is the, we have given admin privileges to this user, and I have named this as AVOS admin. And after that, I have created like 2 data stewards, 2 manager and 2 senior managers. And for them, I have not given any admin privileges. So here also, whatever users I am creating, the username has to be exactly same as we have configured in JBoss, and similarly the password also, same password has to be there. So this is the first thing, user creation. Then the next thing that we have to go is to workflow manager. In the workflow manager, we have, if you go here first, workflow adapters. In the workflow adapters, you can see 2 things, BE ActiveOS and then Informatica ActiveOS. So initially, like when they had released this ActiveOS, it was like Informatica ActiveOS which was used in the initial 9.6.1 version of MDM, 9.6, 9.7, and in starting 10 also. We had Informatica ActiveOS, but there were some issues with that, so later on they came up with BE ActiveOS as a workflow engine. So these two, both the adapters are present here. So next what you have to do is go to workflow engines. In workflow engine, it should be there, like BE ActiveOS is the main thing. It should be there, but if you see that BE ActiveOS is not present, you can add it. You can click on this add button, and in the adapter name you will get BE ActiveOS. So we need to pass the BE ActiveOS. We need to give the host name, port name, username, and the password. So for example, like here for this BE ActiveOS, the host is like same localhost, port is 8080, and username and password. So see, this is the admin user and the password which I have created in MDM as well as in the JBoss. So this configuration is required, and then you can test the workflow using this test button. So this shows that the workflow connection test succeeded. And the next is you have to go here in the operational research store, and the primary workflow engine you have to select as BE ActiveOS for all the things. Secondary workflow is not required. It gives an option to add a secondary workflow also, but that is not required. We just need the primary workflow. So after we have selected BE ActiveOS for all the ORS, next like we will go to the roles. In the roles, MDM means ActiveOS, basically the default ActiveOS support only 3 roles: data steward, manager, and the senior manager. These are the 3 roles which are supported. So we will have to come here, create these 3 roles and give all the privileges. So like data steward, if you click on this data steward, so as of now, like all the access is provided to this user. And if we go down in the custom resources, I have this option here. So in this, basically we need to provide the privileges. Let me take a long. So this is a data steward. So data steward, like as of now, like we are dealing with only one, like I will be showing you person or customer data. So for that, it creates these task types. So we have, like if we go to person, we have final review, merge, notification, review, no approve, unmerge, and update. So these are the 5 things which are there, and it is already there that which role can perform which tasks. So that is also there in the document. If we go back to the document, let me check, it will be there. Yeah, this is the one. So here we can see like data steward is there. Data steward can perform what type of task? So he can perform update, notification, merge, unmerge. Manager can do a review, and senior manager can do a final review. So that is fixed now basically. So in the previous version, when we were using Cyperion, at that time I can say senior manager means senior manager will only do everything, or data steward only can do everything. He can review the data also. He can do a final review also. Everything can be done by a data steward because that was based on our setting. Whatever setting we do, if we give access to data steward, he will be able to do it. But in this version, it is fixed that only a manager can do a review. That is a fixed. So we will have to create this manager role. We have to create this senior manager role and provide the access accordingly. So once we have created this IDD application, then in the custom resources, I will get all these details. So I have to come here and provide the access. Like I am in data steward, so I will give merge access, notification access, and unmerge access and update access. So these 4 accesses are required for each subject area. So like if you go and create any new IDD application, you will see that IDD application coming up here. So in the custom resources, whenever you go and create a role in your custom resources, you will see the IDD application name coming up here, and then you will have to come to this and provide the respective privileges. So privileges in the sense like first privilege is required at the subject area level. So like subject area person, on subject area person, I have given all the privileges here. So this privilege is required on the subject area level, and then you have the search query. So we have seen the search query that an admin user can create a search query and other people will be able to use it. So this is search query, create public. So here we can give read access. I have given all the access here as of now, but we can give just read and execute privileges so that a normal user, a normal data steward, when he logs in, he can see the queries which are created by admin and he can use them. So similarly, if you go to the manager, in the manager also, for this particular subject area, all these privileges are given. And if we come down in the task types, so task type person, here you can see only one access is provided for the review no approve. So because manager can only do a review, he cannot do a final review, or he cannot do other things basically. And similarly for the senior manager, will go and give the final review access. And so these are the access parts, and similarly I have added the users also in the role. In users and group, I have added, like in the data steward, I have 2 data stewards, 2 manager and 2 senior managers which are there. So these are the same names which I have created in JBoss, and even the passwords are same for them. So that's basically the MDM configuration. These are the configuration changes we have to do in MDM. And finally we will see, so whatever steps I am telling, all the steps are mentioned in the document. And finally what we have to do is we have to go Let's change. What happened? It's not coming up itself. Any questions anyone has? Okay, seems no problem. Yesterday only I tested it and they're not sure why it is not working. So basically that are the steps I'll show you like then on basically Monday that how the workflow is working. So basically these were the steps, like whatever we discussed, configuration steps that we have to do for configuring this ActiveOS in three places: in JBoss, then ActiveOS console, then MDM, and in the IDD part. So four places basically we have to configure, and then we will be able to use this ActiveOS as a workflow engine. So all these steps are mentioned in the documents, and I have just gone through also at least all the configuration step except the IDD. So we'll go through it again on Monday. I'll just check what is the issue, and then we'll see the workflow, that how when we create a task, how can we see the task and how we can send it for approval to the other levels. Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, we'll end the session and we'll continue on Monday, basically. Monday 10th, basically 10th of October, 6:30 IST time. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye.